All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are digging into a question that has really challenged doctors and patients for years. A decision where, honestly, the stakes could not be any higher. Let's break down the evidence. So, I want you to imagine this scenario. You're over 70 years old, and you've just been diagnosed with a type of breast cancer that doctors call high risk. All that means is it's more likely to come back. The typical path, it often involves chemotherapy. But is that aggressive fight always the right one? Does it actually help you live longer? And what's the trade-off? What does it do to your quality of life? For the longest time, this whole question was just a huge blind spot in oncology. You see, the big, important studies on breast cancer chemotherapy, well, they almost always left out or didn't have enough women over 70. So doctors were stuck. They had to make these incredibly important recommendations based on data from younger, often much healthier patients. And that created a really critical, and you could even say dangerous, gap in our knowledge.
So to finally fill that gap, researchers in France and Belgium, they launched a major clinical trial. It's called Aster 70s. And its mission was, simple on the surface, but so profound, to finally get a clear, evidence-based answer to the over 70 chemo question.
And look, this was no small-scale thing. The study brought in nearly 1,100 women. Every single one of them was 70 or older, and all had this specific type of high-risk breast cancer. Getting that many people involved is absolutely crucial because it gives the results real statistical power. It means we can trust what they found. Okay, so how did they set it up? It was actually pretty straightforward. All the women were randomly put into one of two groups. The first group, they got what's considered standard treatment, hormone therapy, which is usually just a pill you take to block hormones that can help the cancer grow. The second group, they got that exact same hormone therapy, but they also got 4 cycles of chemotherapy on top of it. This head-to-head comparison was designed to isolate and show the true impact of just the chemo. So after years of treatment and then years of follow-up, the data was finally in. And what it revealed? Well, it really wasn't what many people might have expected at all. This is where the story takes a really fascinating turn.
And this is it. This is the million-dollar question, right? The entire point of doing this huge, long study. After following these women for a median of almost 8 years, did adding those 4 cycles of chemotherapy actually lead to a meaningful survival advantage? Did it help them live longer?
The results were, frankly, surprising. So at the 8-year mark, about 73% of the women who got chemo were still alive. In the no chemo group, it was about 68%. Now, you might look at that and see a small advantage for chemo. But, and this is so important in research, that difference was not statistically significant. That's a technical way of saying the gap was so small it could have easily happened just by random chance. So the study's conclusion was clear. Chemo did not provide a reliable, meaningful survival benefit.
But that lack of a real benefit, that was only half the story. The trial also kept very close track of the physical cost of the treatment. And when you look at the harm, the difference between these two groups, well, it was dramatic.
I mean, just look at this comparison. It is so stark. In the group that skipped chemotherapy, only 9% of patients had what doctors call grade 3 or higher side effects. And we're not talking about minor issues here. These are serious problems, things that could put you in the hospital, like dangerous infections or fatigue so bad you can't get out of bed. Now look at the chemo group. That number jumped to 34%. More than a third of the patients suffered serious life-altering harm for no reliable gain in how long they lived.
So it all comes down to this really crucial idea, the benefit-risk balance. And in this specific case, it was just completely lopsided. For this group of older women with high-risk breast cancer, the hoped-for benefit of chemotherapy, it just wasn't there. But the very real risk of significant harm, yeah, that was absolutely there.
So what does this all mean for practice? Where do we go from here? This trial, it's more than just data. It is a powerful call to action to rethink our entire approach to cancer treatment in older adults. It directly challenges this deep-seated assumption that a more aggressive treatment is always the better way to fight. And you don't have to take my word for it. The study's own authors, writing in one of the most prestigious medical journals in the world, The Lancet, they put it plainly. They stress that their work provides important data on the benefit-risk balance. This is exactly the kind of solid evidence that changes clinical guidelines and helps doctors and patients have much, much better conversations. So why does this matter so much? Because it gives patients and their families the actual data they need to have a real, informed discussion with their doctor. It pushes back hard against that more is better, fight at all costs mentality, and it puts quality of life right up there on equal footing with length of life. It gives doctors evidence to support de-escalating treatment, doing less when less is actually more effective. Ultimately, it paves the way for care that is so much more personalized and appropriate for a person's age and their own goals.
And that leaves us with one last, really powerful question to think about. A study like Aster 70's forces us to look beyond just the simple survival statistics. It challenges all of us, patients, doctors, researchers, to really reconsider how we define success and ask what the right treatment truly means when living a better life is just as important as living a longer one.